I'm Mama T, and today I'm walking away from plant medicine and going into the amazing world of fungus. So we're making our way into mushrooms. So I'm going to talk about them as a whole because there is so much information out there. So this is our little preview into where I'm headed next, okay? So mushrooms are really amazing. People have discovered that they are more like humans, and that we are more like mushrooms than we are like plants. Mushrooms actually release carbon dioxide just like we do. They do not produce their own food the way that plants do. And when they are digesting food, they need enzymes in order to do so, just like we do. This has led some scientists to do some more research, and what they discovered is that we actually integrate mushrooms better into our systems than we do plants. So when we take plants and vegetables, we actually assimilate about 20% of what is there, and then we release the rest as waste. When we take mushrooms and fungus, we actually assimilate 40 to 50%. This is more than double than we do of plants, and we're able to utilize that and integrate it into our system. So mushrooms grow at the base of trees, and they survive and feed off of the decaying matter that's there. What they do is underneath the soil, they release what's called a mycelium thread, and they release these threads, and one thread can be as long as 8 to 10 miles long. And this is what kind of anchors it and puts it in the soil, kind of like how a tree has roots. This is what mushrooms do. And then at the end of this thread, they will release a fruiting body, and that's what comes up above the soil, and that's what we see, and that's what we eat. So each of these threads and any of these mushrooms and everything actually works as a communication thread, which means that mushroom over here at this tree can communicate perfectly along that long thread to mushroom over here that's possibly 10 miles away. And they can say, hey, this is what's happening here, and this is what's happening here, and the weather's good here, and the weather's good there, and oh yeah, here's this infestation that's happening, so get ready. Okay, what this does is it allows the entire forest to communicate better with itself. So these mushrooms go through and they create this cool mycelium that's underneath the soil, this amazing network, and they create what's called a fairy ring. This is a real thing, a fairy ring around the forest itself, allowing the entire forest to be able to communicate with itself better and keep it in better balance and harmony. And if you were to look beneath the soil and you were to look at the mycelium, it looks just like the internet. That is because somebody looked at mushrooms and said, I wonder if we could create a communication system that's just like this. And they did. So the internet is a knockoff of mushrooms. You're never going to look at the internet the same now, and you're welcome. What happens when we take mushrooms inside of our own bodies? What it does is it creates a network within our own bodies, allowing our cells to communicate better with each other, especially our immune cells to communicate better with each other. And what that does is it creates more balance within our bodies. Once we have that balance, we don't need to take these mushrooms anymore. So it's medicine that does not cause dependency. I can say from my own experience that I started taking a wonderful blend of medicinal mushrooms, and it completely rebuilt my immune system. I used to be somebody that got about 4 to 6 colds a year. I had a really crummy immune system. I started taking these without fail every single day. And what has happened as a result is it has now been 4 years since my last cold or flu. And in that 4 years, I got pregnant, which suppresses your immune system. I was very stressed out, which suppresses your immune system. I breastfed, which suppresses your immune system. And I never got a cold or a flu, which is really cool. I can also say that my son, as a result of me taking these while pregnant, has one of the most rockin' immune systems that I've seen in a little kid. And I totally attest that to the mushrooms. And the fact that I give him extra stuff now whenever he goes to school, but I think the mushrooms are the core of it. What you'll discover with taking medicinal mushrooms as a whole is that they work better when they're blended together. They are absolutely friends, and they work symbiotically with each other the same way that they work symbiotically with the tree that they hang out with our bodies, with anything else. They are amazing, wonderful friends and aids to have. A lot of people who discover mushrooms, they start following them like the Grateful Dead, okay? Once they're in, and that is it, and they never go back to other botanical medicine. That's really cool. I understand mushrooms are a whole world unto themselves. They are magnificent and incredible. I, however, believe that you should be taking them in conjunction with each other. I think that mushrooms and plants equal love. In the products world, most people just make mushroom blends, and then people make plant blends. They don't always put them together, although it does exist. I have seen it. And since you are listening to my opinion, because you're watching my video, I say put them together. I think that they work best that way, and your body is going to be happiest that way. As a whole, most of your medicinal mushrooms do a bunch of things. They boost your immune system like crazy, boosting T cells, boosting your macrophages, which are things that go through and actually eat the virus or the bacteria and get rid of it. They almost all work very heavily against cancer and cancer cells, eliminating them, stopping them in their tracks, helping actually chemotherapy work better. Mushrooms are incredible against this. Most mushrooms also tend to have an affinity for lungs, helping you to take in more oxygen. There are many out there that work against diabetes. There are many out there that work against high blood pressure. There are many out there that work with your stress levels and calming you down and grounding you. As you can see, I am a huge fan. There's so much to say, which is why I'm just giving you this wonderful intro, and then I can get into some individual mushrooms in further episodes. My favorite ways of taking mushrooms. I think that mushrooms and chocolate are like gold. I think that's the most fun, most incredible way of taking your medicinal mushrooms. If you're able to, eat them. Put them in your food, put them in your soups. They like to be in broth more than anything, although I myself like to add them to pastas. There are some that taste great, and there are some that taste really bad, like chaga, which I say just take it as a capsule, don't torture yourself. Alright, stay tuned as I get deeper and deeper into some individual mushrooms that will be coming up next week. Stay happy and stay healthy.